What is up? It is your favorite rock, paper, scissors Hall of Famer back with another mediocre video. The internet is a very strange place. You never know what you are going to see, but the internet changes very, very quickly, very fast, and it goes through its various different eras. There's a variety of different eras that come and go, and I think we just have to rank them because some of them are really good. Some of them are kind of good that we, leave them in the past, if you know what I'm saying. Some of these eras are S tier and legendary, and some of them are like F tier, Arby's dumpster level bad, and it's kind of good that we left them in the past. Let's start off with the clout era. Tell me you don't remember this. This was from like 2016 to 2018. Basically just a bunch of influencers showing off their money. I mean, you'd have your like 9-year-old little sister flexing like fake Monopoly money in like super expensive cars. I mean, it was truly a different time. You had people like Cash Me Outside Girl going off on like the legend Dr. Phil. How could you do that to Dr. Phil? I mean, he's a legend. And then you had like Whoa Vicky. I mean, everywhere you look, there'd be a new one like every day. People ate this type of content up. Everywhere you look, there'd be like the Hollywood fix going off. Whoa, Vicky said this. These people were unfiltered, in your face. I mean, like, you couldn't avoid them if you were on the internet at that point. And yeah, people ate this type of content up. Not necessarily my favorite era. Gonna throw this in D tier. Can't believe I went through that whole era without talking about Rice Scum or Lil Pump. But go check out Patrick CC's video about it if you want to learn more about this. Now let's go off with the old era. I'm going to go with like 2005 to like 2011, I think, is when this kind of thrived. And yeah, it was a pretty weird time. This was when monetization was not even thought of. Creators were just making videos to make videos. You had like Ray William Johnson being the undisputed goat of the entire platform with his luscious, spiky hair about to do your mom on Equals 3. You had Smosh, Niga Higa, don't say his name the other way, okay? But yeah, the creativity was definitely there, but the site was still finding its roots at the time. I'm gonna go B tier. Next, we got an era of YouTube that everyone, quote-unquote, misses with all their heart. Everyone's, quote-unquote, favorite era. And that is what is considered the edgy era, where you could just say anything on the platform with no backlash whatsoever. Didn't matter if you were on the top of the platform or just some random guy. You could say anything with, like, no repercussions, and people were just slinging around whatever thing they wanted to say. You have people like MrBeast who nowadays are doing wholesome stuff. I mean, he's like saving orphanages in like Haiti. But back then, he was doing what everyone else was doing. And that was bullying children online.
Today was Saturday, but then you realize it's Monday and you're happy because you get to shoot up a school.
Here are some of the most popular YouTubers during this era. You had Pyrocynical, Grade A Under A, Filthy Frank, iDubbbz, Scarce, Keemstar. Whether you like him or not, he was raking in a lot of views at this point. Leafy is here, probably being the biggest in the community with a lot of other big creators. But the reason I have to go C tier with this one is because a lot of these guys were kind of the same thing, like, pretty much ripping on the same people, hopping on bandwagons with, the same edgy humor, which, was kind of overdone on the platform at that point. Next up, you got the daily vlogging era, mainly dominated by people like Logan Paul and Jake Paul and Casey Neistat and David Dobrik, those people. Back then, Logan Paul wasn't making drinks and fighting in the WWE. He was making daily vlogs. Not much to be said about the vlogging era. I'm going to throw it in C tier. I wasn't really watching. I kind of skipped out on the vlogging era, but I definitely caught up with them. This was also around the time of, like, challenges. You had people, like, mailing themselves in boxes, quote-unquote, and just a lot of other weird stuff like that. Next up, you got the Storytime animation era. The Odd Ones Out and Jane Animations are probably the most popular Storytime animation YouTubers. I mean, Swoozy's definitely very popular too, Domix, but there was a lot of underrated gems that me personally, I found myself watching a little more, like Brewstew and Jawbreaker Juice, It's Alex Clark, stuff like that. People didn't like this era because most of them were kind of like the same thing, and a lot of people got on it for it not being actual animation, which I personally didn't really care. I mean, I watched them more as well for the personality and stories, but yeah, I'm gonna give this a B tier. I actually kind of liked it. Let me give it A tier, actually. Next up, we got like the current era, which is pretty much like the MrBeast era, where you gotta have stuff on the screen every second of the video, the low attention span type era. If you're talking about like the internet in general, TikTok definitely dominates it. But if you're talking about YouTube, you also have stuff like YouTube Shorts for people with like caveman attention spans like me. I'm gonna throw this like MrBeast era in B tier. I mean, there's some good things about it, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really stand out. It's kind of corporate. But yeah, that concludes the YouTube era's tier list. Tell me in the comments, what is your favorite YouTube era?
Subscribe to Wolf and Jaya.